we have your weekend Apple news. Welcome back to the channel. So you know what we do on the weekends. We go through the Apple news. We go through about 20 or 25 different Apple-related news stories, and then we go through a whole bunch of sales. They can be tech sales, Apple sales. I usually have a beer, but today I feel like a zero sugar Pepsi. Are you a Pepsi or a Coke person? Put it in the comments. I'm just curious. I'm more of a Pepsi person. Anyways, let's have some fun on the weekends. We got a whole bunch of good Apple news stories this week. Let's get into the Apple news. Story number one. It's a little bit misleading, so I'm going to explain this in 1 second here. Mac rumors. 5 reasons to wait for next year's MacBook Pro. It says Apple in October 2024 overhauled its 14 and 16-inch MacBook Pro models, adding the M4, M4 Pro, and the M4 Max chips. We know that, right? So this article is a little bit confusing because it says next year, not this year. This is where the key is. It says Bloomberg's Mark Gurman said that he expects only a small performance boost in 2025 MacBook Pro models, and those are going to come out later this year. So that's still this year. We're talking next year when the actual the M6s come out. So you're waiting for the M6 here. You may want to wait for that, though. You may not want to buy a MacBook Pro this year. You may want to wait 2026, right? Is that right? Yeah, 2026. This is the reasons why right here. Because they're going to get the most changes for that model. So it's going to be an M6 chip, but we'll talk about it. The first major change for that model, not the next one coming, but the one after that, OLED displays here. It says goodbye mini LEDs. Several rumors have indicated that the first MacBook Pro models will get OLED on that M6 model. And again, that's 2026. What else is going to happen? It's going to be a new design, thinner, lighter laptop. Major redesign, they're saying. And this is a little bit like, people are saying, we hope that they don't get rid of some of the ports or the battery goes down or we don't need it that much thinner, maybe just a little bit. But they're definitely doing that redesign, not this year, but in 2026. And that's going to be in the M6 MacBook Pros. What else is coming that year? Right here. Punch hole camera, no more notch. So if you hate the notch, now hear me out. I got a MacBook Air over there, and it's an M2 version of it with 16 gigs, 512 gigabyte SSD. When I got the notch, I kind of hated it, but now I don't even notice it, so it kind of went away. It's not a big issue for me. But you guys tell me, is the notch a deal killer for you? Can't say it. But if it is, post in the comments. I don't think many people care anymore. So what else are we going to get in that model release? The 5G modem. So right here, cell connectivity. That could be big for a lot of people, right? So they don't think it's coming in the M5s, but the M6s will have that. And that's a pretty major thing, right? If you need it, if you're out and about and stuff like that. And then finally right here, it'll be the M6 series chips with the 2nm process. And the reason that's important, they're thinking it's going to, as far as it being faster, it's definitely going to be faster. It's also going to be obviously have a better battery life as well. But we don't know thermals with that little thin design. But it says down here, according to the rumor, Apple's A20 chip in next year's iPhone 18 models will switch from the previous integrated fan-out packaging to this WMCM, wafer-level multi-chip module packaging. Basically, long story short, it says components such as the CPU, GPUs, DRAM, and neural engine will be therefore more tightly integrated. So it's basically going to be a complete redesign of the chip with the M6s. At least that's what they're saying. So we're going to, we could see a bigger performance increase than the, 40% from the M4 to the M6. So it could be like 60 to 80% they're thinking. So it could be big. All right, here we go. Story number 2. So if you're thinking about buying an iPhone right now, maybe you see a good deal on an iPhone 16. You may want to wait because there's a lot of new features coming out later this year. Now, this is going to be this year on the iPhone 17. So you can see the article from Mac Rumors, iPhone 17 Pro launching later this year with these 8 new features. What are they? Let's kind of go down here. It says more aluminum. The iPhone 17 Pro models are rumored to have an aluminum frame. I don't know if that's better or worse. I think the ones now have like titanium. It sounds like it's going backwards, right? But anyways, that's going to be one difference. It's going to have the rectangular camera bump. On a related note, devices are expected to have a larger rectangular camera bump made of aluminum. Is that better? I don't know, but some things are going to be better coming up here. It's going to have the A19 Pro chip. That's definitely better. iPhone 17 Pro models are expected to use Apple's next generation A19 Pro, which will be manufactured by TSMC's newer third generation 3nm process, so possibly better battery life. It says right here, Apple designed Wi-Fi 7 chip. That's going to be new as well. And they're saying it could be a little bit slower, but it's going to offer some other capabilities like integration, probably better connectivity to Wi-Fi and stuff like that, just as far as the not having interference and stuff. So that could be a good thing overall, especially if Apple's kind of controlling all that. The next thing is going to be the upgrade to the 24 megapixel front camera. So all 4 iPhone 17 models are said to feature the upgraded 24 megapixel front-facing camera, 48 megapixel rear telephoto camera. I'm getting all tongue-tied here. You get the idea. 12 gigabytes of RAM here, increased from an increase of 12 gigabytes of RAM was initially rumored. So it looks like that. Let me just see here. All 4 iPhone 16 models only have 8 right now, and then a smaller dynamic island for the iPhone 17 Pro Max. So overall, we're going to have a little bit smaller, dynamic island for all it's worth. And again, I don't know if that's a pro or a con. I'm just reporting these rumors. You guys have to decide. Story number 3, a cheaper 6K 32-inch monitor for your Mac. Is it possible? Maybe, but it's not actually from Apple. So hear me out here. This was actually at CES. Here it is from Apple Insider. It says LG UltraFine 6K monitor first to connect with Thunderbolt 5. Look how this looks. It's all aluminum. You can see here, I think it's aluminum, but it's got almost no bezels. You can see the picture right here. It says LG's latest UltraFine 6K monitor could be a great display for the new M4 Mac Mini, but Thunderbolt 5 is not necessarily enough to get people to buy the big epic screen. So we're going to have to talk about this for a second. Now, there's not a ton of details out on this, all right? It's saying the LG UltraFine 6K monitor, this is the model number right here, 32U990A, surfaced Monday as part of CES Innovation Awards. It's saying that it has Thunderbolt 5. It can be running basically things at up to 80 gigabits per second, driving, kind of working as a hub and working with a lot of your accessories. That's going to be huge. But the key here is 32 inches at 6K. And what's going to be the deciding factor? I looked it up. We can't find the price anywhere. What they're saying is they think it's going to be comparable down here to Dell's. They have a 32-inch 6K as well right now. A lot of people don't know about it. It's pretty ugly as far as it's got a huge camera on top. But that's $2,479. I've seen it on sale for about $2,100. So if LG can come out with this thing for around $2,000, and hear me out for a second, I think it'll sell. And now it's a crazy price for a monitor. Let's just be honest, right? Crazy price. But 32 inches at 6K, scaling will be perfect. Would you pop down 2K, let's just say? Put it in the comments. If you had a Mac Mini, would you pay 2K for a monitor? I'm not even sure I would with my channel. It's a tough call, but it's a beautiful screen. Okay, so if you did actually buy the M4 Mac Mini and you got the Thunderbolt 5 and now you're looking for like an external SSD for that, there's finally starting to come out with accessories for it. Take a look here, Apple Insider. This Lease, I think that's how you say it. I know I'm saying it wrong. Leverages Thunderbolt 5 with rugged SSD Pro 5 for creative pros at CES 2005. You can see it right here. So I don't know if you remember this, like all the old Lacy drives, they were like the orange ones. I'll show you a picture of it right now. Everyone used to have those back many years ago, like all the creators and stuff. It was kind of the drive to get, but those were spinning hard drives, right? Here's one, you can see the picture of it. It says right here, it has incredibly fast read and write speeds, buoyed by the Thunderbolt 5. The company says that it will hit 6,700 megabytes per second read and 5,400 megabytes per second write. So I've seen some Thunderbolt faster than that, but not a pre-built one like this. This pre-built one seems pretty good. I mean, 67, 6.7, you get the idea. It's pretty fast. I mean, really right now, Thunderbolt 4 is capable of up to like 3,500 megabytes per second, so we're basically doubling that, so you can't go wrong there. The only problem is right now, here's B&H right now, and it says new item coming soon, so it's not actually currently out yet. I thought it was, but it's going to be the price as well. It's $399 for 2 terabytes, and then 4 terabytes is going to be $599, so $600, yikes. I know, it's cheaper than Apple storage, right? So I guess that's a win there, but it's still going to be really expensive. So you may want to wait. Just get Thunderbolt 4 right now. Wait for the prices to come down. Okay, so we have a couple sales now, and these are on Amazon. I'll have links to these in the video description, but I thought these are pretty good. I don't know if they are. You guys tell me. I think they are. Here's the first one. This is the Apple 2024 MacBook Pro. This is the M4 standard chip, not the Pro chip, the M4. But look at this. It's a 14-inch. It comes with 16 gigs of RAM, which is a standard, but 1 terabyte SSD for $15.99. I think that's a good price. So like basically, if you want just the M4 with enough storage or whatever to basically so you don't need external storage, this is the one for you, right? I mean, the 16 gigs is the only key here that's maybe a little bit off, but I still think that's for most people it's plenty. And then you get the extra storage up to 1 terabyte, and it's still $15.99. I think that's a great price for what you're getting here for the M4. But post in the comments if you agree with me. The next one's kind of on the same line of this. This is the next one here. Same thing basically. 10-core CPU, 10-core GPU. This is going to be the 14-inch. You get 24 gigs of RAM now and that 1 terabyte. So we upgraded from 16 to 24, $17.99. Now obviously it's $200 more, but you're getting that $200 off the original cost, which I think is a good deal, right? Now, the only reason you want to fight this is because look at this. I guess, if you look at this on paper, you almost can get the Pro model sometimes on sale for the same cost, but you're not getting that 1 terabyte SSD. So if you're going to be looking at these models, you're not going to be like the fastest power user because, the M4 chip's fast enough, but it's going to be storage that you really rely on, and I think this is a good deal then. All right, this next rumor is kind of unexpected. And again, these are rumors in a lot of cases, so you got to take them with a grain of salt. But hear me out on this one. Mac rumors. Coy, this guy always says a bunch of stuff. Foldable iPhone entering mass production this year. This is what this guy's saying. Apple's first foldable iPhone set to enter mass production in the second half of 2025, according to this guy Ming Choi Coy. This basically means it would probably be available early 2026 or the end of this year. I don't know if I believe it. So we went down here. It says down here, analyst Jeff Pugh, which is another person, believes that a foldable iPhone could come out as soon as 2026. So that kind of, it's kind of in line. While TrendForce believes it'll come in 2027. This guy Koi's latest forecast suggests the foldable iPhone on track for 2025 or 2026. So, I mean, who knows? I'm not going to buy it. I know that. I just don't get the idea of having a flip phone. I mean, my phone fits perfectly in my pocket. I don't need to flip it open an extra step every time I'm going to use it. But you guys tell me, is it something you'd want? I would be curious if people do. Okay, so this next one, speaking of this Coy guy, this is another one, and this is actually from 9 to 5 Mac. And we heard about this, the iPhone 17 Air, how thin it's going to be. Well, this guy's claiming that they're making it way thinner than even everybody thinks. So let's take a look. Coy, ultra-thin iPhone 17 Air will be just 5.5 millimeters at its thinnest point. I mean, look at this thing. I mean, first of all, what about Bendgate? Remember Bendgate? Remember all that stuff? I mean, unbox therapy. This is going to be an easy bend if you just sit. I mean, there's no way that it would not bend if you sat on it and it was in your back pocket. Take a look at that. So down here it says, now that New Year's have kicked off, rumors of the upcoming iPhone 17 are in full swing. This guy down here is saying that it was first reported basically would measure 6.25 millimeters thick. That's what he was thinking, or people were thinking initially. But that's not the case here. So it says, but Coy says it'll be even thinner with its thinnest part around 5.5 millimeters. This is getting into the territory of the M4 iPad Pro line, if you believe it or not. So the 11-inch is 5.3. This is 5.1. This is going to be 5.5. So 5.5 is significantly thinner than what everyone else has been thinking. So I don't know what news he has, but if that's true, let's go back to that picture up there. It is so thin right there that there's no way they could survive being in your pocket and sitting on it. So I don't even know if I'd get that. Okay, so I do have Apple Arcade, I must confess, but it's more for the channel. But they have some good games coming out, and they have a whole bunch of new ones here for January of 2025. This is for Mac Rumors. Apple Arcade games, new games and updates for 2025. Now, this could be a combination of just on the iPhone, just on the Mac, or you got to check both places. But down here, a couple ones I did check out. Skate City, New York. That actually looks pretty cool. You get to skateboard around, kind of like Tony Hawk used to be. Gears and Goo for Apple Vision Pro, so that's going to be Vision Pro only. Three Kingdoms Heroes, a lot of people like that game. This is a big one here, Final Fantasy Plus, a remastered version of the original entry into the iconic RGB series, containing enhanced 2D visuals and mobile optimized features. So this might be only mobilized. The one thing that I did check out on the Mac here was this PGA Tour Pro Golf. It just came out, an immersive golf simulation featuring the iconic PGA Tour. So if you like golf games and stuff like that, I mean, maybe people do, maybe people don't, but it actually looks pretty cool for what it is, right? You're paying $6-7 a month. You get all the games. And, the golf one seems like it's finally getting into some sports ones that I'd actually play. All right, so I said this many times in my news and stuff like that. People know me by now. I think people are just getting so lazy and so, I don't know what to say, that the society's in big trouble, right? And here's another example of it. You got to hear me out here with the AI and everything going on. I mean, who needs this thing? Just tell me if anybody would buy this. You'd have to be insane, right? So here's Mac Rumors. This Matter-enabled robot vacuum can pick up dirty laundry. Smart vacuum company Roborock this week showed off its latest vacuum, a Roborock Saros Z70. The vacuum is Matter-enabled, which means when it launches, it should be able to connect to the Apple HomeKit setup. So you can see it here. So it says vacuum. It's got an arm, so it can reach and pick up that little ball of trash. Like, let's say you want to throw something over you scrunch up some paper, throw it over on the floor. This thing will go ahead and pick it up. I mean, you can't walk over there and bend down and pick it up and throw it in the garbage, right? I mean, of course, people will say, well, this is, who knows? Maybe there's going to be people that can't do that. I understand that part, but for the masses, right? Who's going to obviously need this? So then you're thinking, well, obviously they're getting cheaper. So like, if it was cheap, why not, right? It picks up other stuff, and you got this robot walking around. Well, take a look down here. Pricing for the Saros Z70 has been announced, but it says basically it can cost upward of $1,500 for that vacuum. $1,500. So I can tell you one thing: if you're somebody that buys that, post in the comments, and I'm going to tease you. Okay, we kind of said this a couple weeks ago, but the sale is still ongoing, and it's actually gotten better. Woot, W-O-O-T, that's basically a company owned by Amazon. They have a great watch band sale for Apple Watches. So take a look here. It's on Woot right now. And if you go there, you can just go there and look for this right now. But look at this. They have all the braided $29 for all the Apple The Apple Watch Solo Loop for $19, usually $50. So everything's on super sale here. Apple Watch Solo Loop greens. They have all the different colors. Apple Watch Solo Loop. I guess that's all the Solo Loops, right? I don't know. They're all just different colors. I guess that's the difference. But some are only $19. Some are actually $29. But they're actually Apple. They're not like some third brand or anything like that. They're actually, real Apple bands. So if you're thinking about picking up some different colors, you don't want to spend $50, $60, you can pick them up for $19.99 right now. Okay, so this next one I thought was kind of cool as long as we're talking about Apple Watches. This is from 9to5Mac right here. It says Nomad launches limited edition glow-in-the-dark icy blue sports band. Take a look at this for a second. So if you kind of scroll down, it says, here's what we need to know about the limited. It's a limited edition, mind you. Icy blue by day, glowing bright blue by night, shines 3 times brighter than the original glow sport band. Waterproof, custom aluminum closure. Gets into the sizes here, designed for everything up to the Apple Watch Series 9. So you can see in here, I guess, I don't know, all previous watches. You can go in here and see it, but I wanted to show you the actual website here. So here it is over here. It's a little bit more expensive, obviously, $60. So instead of $19.99, it's $60. But it's really cool. I mean, take a look at this. It's kind of like a baby blue color. You can see it there. But then at nighttime, it glows. And you're going to say, well, why in the world would you need this? And again, this is limited time, so you got to pick it up. I mean, I can have a link to this, or at least you can go. You have to go to their Nomad Goods. You have to go to their actual website. But why would you want this? Maybe you're a runner at night, and that's going to be key. So if you're running and you don't want to get hit by a car, obviously this is a great idea. Otherwise, you're just kind of flashing your Apple Watch to a bunch of thieves if you're walking down Chicago, right? They're going to be like, that guy's got a nice watch. But if you're jogging, I think it's a good idea. If you're out and about, I don't know. Okay, just a quick update. So if you're looking to get a job at Apple, right? Let's say you're out of school and you want to move to a location where they're going to start hiring. Here you go. Apple signs lease for even more office space in Seattle. Apple Insider. Apple's expanding its presence in the Evergreen State, signing a direct lease for nearly 193,000 square feet of office space in South Lake Union. This is going to be around Seattle. It says the report suggests city officials are excited by the prospects of Apple moving in and taking advantage of the available talent pool in Seattle. So there you go. So move to Seattle. That's one option for you. And, just turn up at the doorstep and keep begging for a job. Okay, this next one now, this is a tip from 9to5Mac, not from me. So if it ruins your MacBook, you can't come after me. Do your own research. But they have an article here, tips for cleaning your MacBook screen and keyboard from 9to5Mac. If you're a heavy MacBook user, chances are your screen kind of looks like this, right? So what they're basically saying is it says, Apple has cautioned not to use window cleaners, household cleaners, all this kind of stuff, solvents, ammonia. You don't want to use any of that stuff. What these people are saying is, with all the Apple warnings in mind, the best way to clean your MacBook screen whenever you get asked this question, check out the products from Whoosh. There are multiple products, WHOOSH, but my favorite is the Screen Cleaner Kit. So it goes on to say that this is actually what they use in Apple stores around the world, use Whoosh. I don't know if that's true or not. I believe it is. But again, do your own research. But here it is. I'll put a link to this on Amazon. You can see in here, if you go in here, you can get them. There's big bottles, small bottles, but you can get something like this for, I think it comes out to like $18, two little bottles here of it. And it comes with like a little rag you can actually wash your screen with down there. You can see it. So overall, for the money, obviously, I think it's true, and I'm going to actually maybe try it myself, and then I'll have to report back to you. All right, this next one's just kind of a funny story. So again, Dell's getting rid of some of their names of their laptops, and what do they go do? This is crazy. So Mac rumors, Dell copies iPhone Pro Max naming strategy for the new PC lineup, which is totally insane. So it says the computer manufacturer is retiring its long-standing names like the XPS in Inspiron in the favor of the 3 straightforward tiers, Dell, Dell Pro, and Dell Pro Max. So Dell's doing Pro and Pro Max, and it's kind of like the iPhones, right? So they're saying that they basically copied Apple's iPhones, and everyone's like scratching their heads. You get all these marketing people, they get paid millions of dollars every year, and then they basically cling to the exact same words as somebody else is doing it, and then the products get all kind of muddled up, right? I don't understand it. Maybe they just want to piggyback off the success of the iPhone. Maybe that's the best option there. I don't get it, to tell you the truth. I mean, there's so many other words that can be basically very similar to that, but they must have done some kind of study and figured those are the best words for their products. Okay, this next one was kind of funny, and let me just show you what I mean by this. So you guys have to tell me. So this thing over here, 9to5Mac, it says iOS 18.3 Beta 2 fixes key calculator issue introduced last fall. So it says repeating operations are now possible again in iOS 18 removal. So long story short is this new 18.3 on the calculator you can actually click on a button basically. Whenever you click enter, it's going to like repeat. Like let's say you did 5 plus 5 equals 10. You click enter, and if you click enter again, it's going to keep repeating. Not repeating it, but it's going to keep adding to it. And that went away for some reason, and now it's coming back. So, but I mean, that's not even the biggest problem, right? The biggest problem that I've ever seen on this stupid thing is if you open it up over here, and someone has to answer me this question. So we're living obviously in 2025. We're almost going to put someone into Mars. Elon Musk might put some civilization up there or something. But look at my screen here. This is on just a 24-inch iMac. How do I make this bigger? This is like as big as I can get this damn thing. It's like this big, right? Can't Apple make it so that we can expand the size of the calculator? I mean, is it that difficult after like 20-something years? I think that's the biggest problem. I don't know if you guys agree with me or not, but why can't they just fix this simple damn thing? Why has the calculator been so difficult for them to achieve anything on? It's mind-boggling to me. Okay, so let's just say you have like an iPad, a standard one like the one here or the new one coming out, or even an Air or something, but you want a pen, an Apple pen, but you don't need, like, you're not a drawer. Like you don't do a ton of stuff with drawing and stuff, but you want a good pen. Here's one from ESR. Now I've talked about this company. They're launching a $30 Apple Pencil alternative with Find My. So the accessory maker, basically it's called the Geo Digital Pencil. It's going to be a low-cost Apple alternative, and it's going to have the My 5 functionality so you can find it. A couple of things in here. Let me just see. It says it basically connects to the iPad and Bluetooth. It supports writing, drawing, sketching, and much like the Apple Pencil. The Geo, let me just see here. It uses a magnetic attachment to keep it from being lost as well, but the charging is done by USB-C cable, so that's okay. But this is the only issue. Supported features include tilt sensitivity and shortcuts, but the pressure sensitivity, Apple Pencil Hover, and other Apple Pencil exclusives are not available. So that's what I'm talking about. So if you're a drawer and you need like some of those hovers and you need to actually the press sensitive and stuff, that's not going to be in here, but it's going to work. It's really compatible with all the other ones. If you're for taking notes, doing just basic sketching, if you want to sketch something like an idea down or something, and $30 is not bad at all. So here it is over here. Let me just see if I can find it right here in Amazon. It's actually $29.99 right now. So here it is. I'll have a link to this. It's called the ESR Find My Stylus pen here. And $29, you can't go wrong. It comes with all these different tips here. It comes with the charger. You can see it. So it's worth it, I think, definitely than spending $100 on the Apple Pencil. Okay, so the Arizona plant, we know that the TSMC Arizona plant is starting to make some chips for Apple finally. Obviously, the whole thing going on with China and Taiwan is a major issue, and if something happens there, the whole world's going to know about it, right? So they're trying to get this ramped up. Here's 9 to 5 Mac. It says, report Apple's U.S. chip manufacturer grows by adding Apple Watch S9 SIP. So basically, they've created their second Apple chip here. If we go down here, it says TSMC Arizona has picked up a second Apple product in addition to the A16 processor, which they're currently doing for the iPhones, which is shared with you in September. This basically is now producing this SIPS system and package for the Apple Watch. So it's going to be this S9 basically chip here, and you get the idea. So they're doing 2 different chips now for Apple, which is good news, right? Now, they're not the best or the most advanced chips and stuff like that. They're kind of ramping up to that. And the good news, though, is it's kind of spreading out the wealth. So I also read in another article about this, if this actually comes up here, right here. This actually kind of piqued my interest. It says, Apple isn't the only client having chips made by the Arizona facility. It says right here, claims that AMD is producing a Ryzen 9000 at the plant, a product that was released in 2024. So it's actually making an AMD Ryzen chip as well. That's actually good too. So as we start becoming less and less, we're all in kind of, all of our eggs are in basket in Taiwan. That's just the bottom line right now. Until we get that moving, it's going to take a little bit of time. Then we can all take a little bit of, we can relax so that we're going to know we're going to have these CPUs in case something happens there. So I think it's all good news. Okay, for this next one, I got to take a drink here. Usually it's a beer though, and unfortunately today it's a Pepsi Zero Sugar. I do this because I get so mad at this, although this is kind of a recap of what happened before, but still, these companies just keep doing this to us. Washington State is finally suing T-Mobile over a data breach impacting 79 million people from 9 to 5 Mac. It says Washington State is suing T-Mobile over a 2021 security breach which exposed the personal information of 79 million people, including 2 million Washington residents. The crazy part here, though, is let's just see here. Data exposed in the Social Security, where Social Security numbers, phone numbers, physical addresses, unique IMEI numbers, I guess that's your phone, and your driver's license information. Can you believe this? But your Social Security number, 79 million people in the United States. I mean, this keeps happening, right? And nothing ever gets done. I mean, is T-Mobile still in business? Yes. And I mean, every week I report on this. Every single week there's a different company doing it. So at this point, I mean, whose information is not out there? That's the question, right? So I guess It's just a matter of time and when they're going to use it, because it has to be out there, because every company, AT&T had the same issue, not exactly like this, but they had some other, I mean, it goes on and on and on, and nobody ever fixes it. Okay, so I've talked about this keyboard a whole bunch of times because this is one of the few mechanical keyboards from Satechi that you can get for a Mac. It's got all the Mac keys and everything like that. And like I said, it's full mechanical. You can see the kind of the height of it. It's kind of a mid-size mechanical. It doesn't sit up that high. It's not terribly loud. But they finally are coming out with a version. So this version I've talked about, but they're coming out with a bigger version with the numeric keypad, which is nice. So Satechi, the SM3 Slim Mechanical Bluetooth Keyboard, backlit Bluetooth keyboard, arrives with a full layout, and you can see it right in here. So just wanted to show it to you right there. So I think it's around $109. So it's obviously a little bit more expensive. This one over here I showed you earlier, you can get during like Black Friday and stuff, it was like $69, super cheap. Great value for a mechanical keyboard, especially one made for a Mac. It's got an aluminum case around it and everything like that. This one, if you need that numeric keypad though, now you're going to pay a little bit more, but it's still a great keyboard. Okay, so we have a couple last sales here. This has been on sale for a while because there's some new ones coming out this year, but if you want to get the deal, jump on it now because this means they're going to be going away soon. It's the Apple AirPods Pro 2. You can see them right here on Amazon right now. $179, usually 250, basically $250. So you're saving quite a bit of money, 70 something bucks. And looks like whatever, free delivery, and they're in stock right now. So if you want this one, I mean, obviously the new ones are coming out later this year. We don't know when, but if you want to save $70, $70 is $70, right? So I recommend picking these up. Okay, this last sale I need a little help with. So is this a good deal or is this not a good deal? You guys have to tell me. So I actually have a M2 MacBook Air sitting back here powering this thing right now. And I've showed it a million times on my channel. I paid like $14.99, but it has the 512 and the 16 gigs of RAM. And that was before, obviously, the 16 gigs was standard, right? So I kind of got screwed there. But now they're offering over here at B&H, this is the M3 version of that, 16 gigs of RAM, 512 gigabyte SSD, $12.99. It's usually, $200 off right now. So I think I'm putting it in here because I think it's a good deal. And why do I think it's a good deal is because obviously you can get the MacBook Pro now, the M4 version of this even for, whatever. And, obviously we know this is coming out, but you're going to pay more for it. But even the M4 Pro now is only like $14.99, right? And you're going to get similar specs and stuff. But this is because of the size of the screen. Trust me, I've tested both of these. The 15-inch has definitely got just a much larger screen. So if you need a bigger screen, it makes a huge difference, even over the 14-inch, MacBook Pro. So that's all I'm sticking to it. So if you need this, I think it's a good deal. If you want the power and you don't need as big of a screen, then go with the M4. You'll be fine. Okay, so we're going to wrap this up. I hope everyone's having a great weekend. And we do this every week. We have some fun with it. Eventually, my plan is to make this kind of a live show, or at least some parts of it a live show, and then we'll post it and stuff. I mean, there'll probably be nobody watching it live, but at least people can ask comments and stuff. So post comments and keep it coming and keep watching if you can. This is going to evolve slowly. I do it all myself. I mean, with a bunch of other stuff going on in my life right now, it's very difficult. So I do my best. Not super professional, but it's getting better. We'll talk to everybody soon. Peace.